Good morning. So, yesterday was my 8th time doing inner dance, and I facilitated the third session for my friend. I'd done 2 virtual sessions with him through Zoom, and this was the third. Now, we lit the room very dark and we put on some music, and the moment the music starts, there's just, it's almost magic. It's unbelievable that it works like this. Just like you look at the body, and the moment you start to hear the music, it's like you tune into some frequency or some vibration, but you feel like you're an antenna changing frequencies, and all of a sudden your state of consciousness is very different. It's like you're super aware, you have bodily awareness, and you're just intuitively, with instinct, going to his body, waving your hands in certain ways. You don't know what you're doing. Sometimes you have visuals. You see some things appearing, but it's just in your mind. You like, I never had the feeling that I was intending or willing what needed to be happen. It was all so spontaneously unfolding itself. And like, for me, seeing how activated he was, because he was moving so much in a flow. He was doing some kind of mudras, he was being vocal. It was very energetically active. It was very spontaneous. Everything was very spontaneous. And my mind was reacting. My mind was having all kinds of reactions, saying things like, when my hands were being put on him, is he really feeling something? Is there really something happening or not? Like, my mind is still trying to catch up. Sometimes, like, there were movements and his body was moving. And sometimes there were movements and his body was not moving. So it's like my mind is still trying to figure out, how what works, or how the interaction happens. And it's all on an energetic level. The session itself was like 1 hour and 10 minutes, so 70 minutes. But at some point, like, because we were in the flow, and like in the beginning there was just a lot of working with the energy communicating with each other. And at a certain point, there was just like this feeling of like, it's done. Like, sure, there were like hands being put on certain places and then released, and then at some point it was like this feeling, it was done. And I looked at the timer and it was 40 minutes, and I realized I was not in the frequency anymore. It was like the process was just finished. And I looked at him and he was lying there still, and I was like, wow, so it's done. So we still had 30-40 minutes left, and the music was different now. So I thought, like, let's see what happens. So I just lie there on my own, and I started to have my own visions. Like, I didn't have a lot of activation or processes happening, but I just had like some kind of energetic activation myself. And it's just like visions started to come, and I was having my own mini sessions. Honestly, this is very intense, because I saw so many things. I saw my partner. Like, I saw like a room where it said like, people who died. Like, it's like an office for like a government office of when you have to declare that somebody died or something. So it was like that kind of office. I saw that. I saw like a contract with like a name of a woman that I know and my own name, like that we were married together. I saw myself in the hospital with this new woman, not my partner. And like, she was receiving a baby, and I was going with the baby out to my parents. It was all so visceral, so strong. Yeah, I mean, it's just too much. I don't even remember everything, because it was very very flashy. It was like one after the other after the other. It's like a movie unfolding, and I saw certain scenes. Now, after the session, I talked to my friend, and it's very interesting how he said it. He's like, whenever you touched me, I just felt, like I didn't feel your presence. I didn't feel like ego or you were there. I just felt like something was there. Like even it was dark, there was this awareness that something was moving, that something was there, but I didn't feel like your energy. It felt very tasteless or odorless, like. And whenever the hands were touching me, whenever my hands were touching his body, he said sometimes nothing happened, or it was very subtle, or nothing happened, and then when you took away the hands, like I noticed something was happening. So it's like, it's not about the touch, it's like the energy is communicating with the energy inside of the body. It's like energy is communicating with each other. And yeah, he told me he didn't have any visions, he didn't have any revelations or any kind of things. He just witnessed. It's like he said, I just like saw how all of a sudden I'm aware, and I'm like in this corner, and I see how the energy, the kundalini energy or shakti, is like inhabiting the body and moving with the body and expression. It's pure expression of energy. It's very fun. And he said afterwards, very relaxed, very elated, but you also feel this high on energy. Like the energy, because the energy is so high, there's this stillness. The thoughts are still, there's this feeling of exhaustion, but yeah, it's really like refreshing and nourishing almost like. But he's like, but it's not like real life, right? Because in real life, like, you don't usually have this kind of energy, right? So people can go to these sessions and they experience these uplifts of energies, and then, when they go back into their life, they can crash. Well, I don't agree with that fully, because I think if you do practices yourself, or you raise your frequency or you raise your vibrations, that your energy can be high. There are a lot of meditations to work with that. Like I know Joe Dispenza, his work, Blessing of the Energy Centers, and probably many others. So there was also a moment where he said, this is so natural. It feels like, just so natural. He's like, in CAP, there was always the feeling that he had to do something, that he had to make himself do something, and something had to happen. But to be honest, he has done 7 CAP sessions, right? And in his CAP sessions, he had this deep desire, this deep wish to have experiences, right? And then after his CAP sessions, he listened to some non-duality talks, and he had a shift of consciousness, or he had something happened, right? I don't know what, I don't know how to explain it, but something happened, and the way he is now is unexplainable in a way, because if as before there was an identification with the body mind, the way he explains it now, there is no identification with it anymore. There's just like awareness, or a happening. Everything is just happening, but there's no one, no person, or no identification to identify with what is happening. So everything can be let go in the moment. Everything can arise, can be experienced, and can be let go. And it's a very interesting process, because I noticed this session especially, he was moving so much, and it was so flowy, like there was such a flow that I really had the impression like, whoa, like the energy is really going through his body. His body's really like so active, so engaged in this process. So I was really glad for that. Yeah, like facilitating inner dance. He asked me to get tired, and I felt like, no, you don't get tired at all. It's just like, it's like doing some Tai Chi. I never done Tai Chi, but it's like doing some kind of body awareness practice where you're so present and intuitively you just flow. You just flow with the room, the space in the room, and the dynamics of between you and the other body. It's it's a spontaneous dance, and sometimes in between, like you close your eyes, you have a dance yourself, or you have like some experiences yourself, like especially at the end, because after it was done, he had stopped, his body had stopped moving, and he was just lying there for 30 minutes. And at a certain point, he fell asleep. He said like he felt like he died, because at a certain point, he felt like he just like dissolved, or like there was just like nothingness, and then he just like released everything. It's like all the cells were vibrating very high, but there was just like this deep relaxation where there was like a falling into the relaxation, and he just fell asleep, or almost felt like sleep. It was not really asleep, but he could feel like he was falling asleep. And at some point I heard how he was snoring, like I heard that. I even recorded that with my phone. It was so funny. And then at the end, the music stopped and I guided him back. Honestly, I find it so interesting. The only thing that that I'm really now dealing with is all these visions that I'm having, all these visions about my partner, about a new partner, about a new life with a new partner. I talked about this with a teacher of mine, and she told me it can be like stored data from previous lifetimes. It doesn't necessarily have to be manifested, but after having like these deep visions, there's like this deep draw towards a person, towards that new person. There's this deep devotional love, and like my mind is so overactive. It wants to put on this label of maybe you're twin flames, maybe it's soulmate, but it's twin flame. So I'm listening to all these twin flame videos and this information because it feels so strong. It feels so strong to, like, when you want something and you do law of attraction kind of visualization, you imagine things, and then you see whatever you want to happen, and you try to experience it, like smell it, feel it, touch it, go through it, right? Maybe not smell. And whatever. It's like an exercise in law of attraction. It's like in the CAP sessions, it feels like it's doing that. Feels like I'm having these vivid energetic scenes happening, and I feel like I'm living through them. And when I feel like I'm living through them, afterwards, it feels like it's supposed to happen, or it's already happened, and I just have to wait and wait for the manifestation of it. So my mind is like wants to attach to like, when is it gonna happen? What do I need to do? When is the next thing? What is the next step for me to take? Because I've shared my experiences with this other person, and she was very. She said, that's not my story. She said, I'm not gonna tell no. I don't feel a connection with you, but I'm not also gonna say yes. I didn't say yes. I asked her, and she said, I didn't say yes, right? So it's like, it's all with you. You have to go in your heart, and you have to stay in your heart. So for me, like, there's like this, it feels like I'm in this stream, live stream now, where my mind thinks that I'm supposed to be with this new person, and I'm supposed to have this life with this new person, and I'm learning all these new facilitation skills and other like psychology, NLP, well, not only NLP, but like I want to learn about hypnosis and about body work and shadow work. So like I feel like there's a sense in me like I want to be as good as her. I want to be as free as her. I want to, like, there's some kind of internal dynamic happening that I want to almost mimic her the way she is and live that, because I also want to be happy like her. And inside of me, there's this pushing away, you know, like, I don't want to be somebody who's chasing. I don't want to be in that position. There's this inner resistance. So I want to push her away. I want to block, uh, like, block all contact and just go away. But then, like, when I'm doing meditations, I still have like this energy pull to just go and towards her session, because she's a facilitator. And in her sessions, I have like these very profound, deep experiences where we connect. And then I realize it's like, it's not how I thought it was. The way I think about it is not the way it is, because the way it is always revealing to me how it is presently. And my mind wants to, you know, to have some concrete situation that I can understand, that I can grab hold on to, that I can like, yeah, let's say control, that I can like predict, control, so I can feel safe. But because I don't have the mutual things coming back to me from her side, it's just like I'm having all these experiences, I'm amped up, I feel like this draw to her, I'm having all these visions about her, and I'm just sitting with it. I'm just sitting with it, and like it even in inner dance, I thought it only happened at CAP, but now in inner dance also. So now I feel like I'm just gonna use her as a mirror. It's not about being in a relationship with her, it's about using her as a mirror to grow spiritually. So whatever triggers me, whatever behavior of her triggers me, I want to use that trigger to heal whatever comes in me. So, for instance, if she replies to me in a certain way and I have a reaction of anger or not feeling loved enough by her because she writes a message in a certain way, it's like for me an invitation to go into that feeling and realize what do I believe that I need there? Like, what is creating this reaction in me? Because it's not really her, right? Like, I've had this, and it's always like connected to some past trauma with my mother, or some kind of reaction about what I don't want to happen. Yeah, it's all resistance. But yeah, I'm really like just curious about what's gonna happen. Like, the more and more CAP, the more inner dance that I do, like my path, it just goes more and more into surrender and not knowing, surrender, like experience, open yourself up to the experience and let go, shed the resistance. So yeah, the session yesterday was truly awesome.